I began to feel unwell on Monday, the 21st of September, whilst I was working from home. It began with a tickle in the back of my throat and a bit of a cough, which progressed as the afternoon went on. I took my temperature, it was really high. As the evening through the night progressed, I became very lethargic, very tired, aching all over, lost completely my sense of taste and smell. The cough became really, really bad, as did the sore throat. As the week progressed, it was pretty much the same. I still felt really poorly, spent a lot of time on the sofa, really tired, coughing a lot. This continued really till about day 8. And upon day 8, I suddenly became really, really unwell. My chest was incredibly tight, my temperature was sky high, and I didn't really have much sense of what was going on. My son took some advice from the COVID helpline, and via the GP, somebody came out to see me. My oxygen level was between 75 and 80, when really it should be between 95 and 100. I also managed to pass out on the doorstep where the nurse practitioner was, because understandably he didn't want to come into the house. Within an hour of the nurse practitioner coming to see me at home, I received a call from care coordination within the NHS. They explained an ambulance had been dispatched and would be with me shortly. It arrived on lights and sirens, and when the paramedic entered the house, he was in full PPE and resembled an astronaut. They took me off to hospital, where within an hour I was hooked up on a drip for pain relief, which was paracetamol to also bring my temperature down. I had been given some steroids. I had a chest x-ray which showed I had pneumonia, and I was moved onto a ward. The blood test also showed that my white blood cells had been pretty much destroyed by COVID, so I had to go in a room on my own, and I was at a massive risk of infection. On the first day within the hospital, I was offered a trial drug, a drug that had been used for previous viruses such as Ebola, but had not been used for COVID except under trial conditions. I accepted the trial, and this was a medication that was given to me via an IV drip over 5 days. I was also prescribed 2 different sorts of antibiotic, one via IV and one via a tablet to fight the pneumonia. And I was on oxygen for the entire length of my stay within the hospital, which was 9 days. I was on oxygen for the entire 9 days, and despite several attempts to try and wean me off it, it was unsuccessful. But finally, on day 9, they were able to half it and then half it again, and then finally remove it, and I was then discharged. When I was discharged home, I came home with several medications, mostly tablet form. However, whilst I was in hospital, I was also receiving a daily injection of a blood thinning medication to ensure that I did not develop clots, which is a huge side effect of COVID, which can cause people to have a stroke. I also came home with 14 days worth of this medication, so was taught upon discharge how to inject myself in my stomach, which I then had to do for 14 days, which really wasn't a nice experience. I still haven't recovered from all of my symptoms. I'm now able to take fairly short walks. I still suffer with a little bit of dizziness and lightheadedness if I do anything too strenuous. I get breathless if I walk too far or too fast, and I still don't have full recovery of my taste and smell. Whilst I was in hospital, it was a really awful experience. No visitors, in a room on my own for the majority of it. However, I have to say every single member of staff that I encountered were absolutely brilliant. I can't praise them enough. The biggest change for me since having COVID is the way that I look after my dogs. Prior to having COVID, both before and after work and several times over the weekend, I would be able to take them on a walk for miles as long as I wanted to, really. However, now I am limited with how far I can take them. I'm lucky that I live with my husband and our children. They are able to give the dogs the full exercise that they need, but I can only go for the moment on part of the walk, and then I return home to rest while they continue exercising them. I'm also reliant on my family for things that people might not think about. If I do some laundry, I can't carry it upstairs. That makes me breathless. I can't get things out of a bottom cupboard because that can give me a dizzy spell. So it's things that you might not really think about that have a long-term impact on my recovery. I just want to say that COVID really is an awful illness. I was unwell and then I took a turn for the worse and I was incredibly unwell. It's not like a normal flu or a cold. Well, it wasn't for me and it isn't for lots of other people too. To everybody, please, please, please be as careful as you can be and take as many precautions as possible. As a family, we did everything: masks, hand washing, sanitizer. My son somehow brought COVID into the house. He became unwell 2 days prior to me, and he was exactly the same with all the precautions. You honestly can't be too careful. Everybody just please take care.